YouTube, what is going on, guys? Thank you guys for checking out another video on my channel. So this video I think is super important for barbers. I'm taking the content from a separate channel that I have called Bossio Builds Wealth. If you're interested after watching this video in that channel, there'll be a link in the description you can check out. This video I think is important, especially with the times that we have today. And people ask me all the time, do you make money being a barber? And so not only do I want to talk to you guys about how to make money being a barber in this industry, but also how to build wealth, the path to building wealth, the ways that you can do it. There's several ways that you can. So we're going to explain that in detail with this video. Now, these same ideas you can use regardless if you're a barber or you're self-employed, you're a teacher and you're employed, that type of thing. It's relative to pretty much anyone who's trying to build wealth. And I truly believe you can build wealth doing anything. Like, you could be a McDonald's employee and build wealth. But I'm going to use barbering as an example because that is the field that I'm in and that's the industry that I love so much. So tune in, guys. If you like the channel, if you like what you see, do subscribe. I would start with the video 4 Pillars to a Good Life. That's a great start. And yeah, let's watch the video. Let me know in the comments what you think and smash the like button. Today we're going to talk about beginning this journey of building wealth, and it starts with making more money. You got to make more money. I watched a lot of videos on YouTube and read a lot of books, watched a lot of TV shows that talked about personal finance. The main topic always ends up being where you can cut costs, where you can cut down your bills, ride your bike to work, not your car, get ketchup packets and napkins from your local McDonald's, not from the grocery store. All kinds of wild, crazy stuff of being so much more cheap. I'm not even gonna say frugal, I'm gonna say cheap. Now, I do agree being frugal is important, but damn, sometimes we're spending way too much energy to save 10 cents instead of spending that same time and energy to make $10. And so I wanna break down making money in 2 different sections. You have active income, you have passive income. I learned this stuff from Rich Dad Poor Dad. Read the book if you haven't already. So active income is money you actually have to spend time working for, trading your time to get that money. Passive income is the opposite. You spend little to no time and you make money. Both super important. Both shouldn't be neglected. I was in a time and place where I thought I needed to replace my active income with passive. The moment I started to make some passive, I started to take away from my active in order to pay more attention to passive. And that's the opposite. That's where I went wrong early on in my life building personal wealth. And here's what I mean. Passive income is supposed to be passive, little to no time. Why are you taking time away from active to work on passive? If it's truly passive, it doesn't need your time. Instead, what ends up happening is you step away from your job, you start sitting on the couch and watching more movies. And then what happens is your active income starts to deteriorate, and so does your passive income behind that, because you're not making the same active income you were before to continue to build that passive income. So that's not what we're gonna do on our journey. This is the idea if you're just getting started. Number 1, you gotta have a main source of income. Your active income is the most important thing. It is your bloodline, it is your cash flow, it is your air. And so if we're going to be working on this active income and we're going to stay focused on it and we're going to grow it to its full potential, we have to go back to the first video I dropped on this channel and find your why. Your time and purpose balance matters when you're thinking about what your active income is, because in order to see and maximize this active income, you got to have purpose. It's going to fuel those all-nighters when you're still working to make more money or still learning and educating yourself so that you can add more value to the marketplace. So I got to ask myself, with any job or any business or anything that I'm going to do to create income, can I do this for the next 5 to 10 years? I'm going to commit to it. I'm going to focus on it. It might be slow if you're a real estate agent or something like that, or a barber in the beginning, but I'm going to commit to it in one city, in one place, and see the fruits of my labor. The next question I got to ask myself, is there opportunity for leverage? And what I mean by that is, if you're a real estate agent, can you open up your own real estate brokerage? If you're a lawyer, can you open up your own firm? If you're a barber, can you open up your own barber shop, your own barber school? And if you don't have a career yet, what is the cost of entry? Not just financially, but time. The cost of entry to be a doctor is 10 plus years, hundreds of thousands of dollars in tuition. Cost of entry is very high there, but the return on your investment is very high too. If that's your passion, if that's what you see yourself doing the rest of your life, go for it. But if it's not, you can create some serious money being a barber. Look at this book called The Wealthy Barber. It pretty much talks about how any career, you could choose to be a McDonald's manager, you'll be able to build wealth in the next 10 years. The next question I gotta say is, what are the opportunities to invest in yourself? As a barber, you can learn new techniques, you can learn new services, you can promote yourself and add more clients to the seat. The same thing with a real estate agent. You can take new classes, you can start managing properties, you can constantly invest in yourself and in your mind. And that's the best investment, because that's something no one can take away from you. Regardless of what's going on economically in the world, having this and some hustle behind it, you can beat the ups and downs of life. And so you got this. You got your main source of income. You want to know what the top 10% are making in their field and then smash that. I can tell you, as a barber who owns 7 locations with over 60 barbers, we definitely have barbers who make well over 6 figures just cutting hair behind the chair. I know it's hard to believe. They got to spend a lot of time doing it, and they're working really hard, but they're doing it. And then you have some barbers that are barely scraping by, barely making their bills. You want to be the top 10% or better. You want to interview these people. You want to emulate the things that they're doing, be creative and innovate on top of that, and get obsessed with the idea of being a 1%er in your field. And here's why I'm telling you all of this. Because when you focus on your main source of income, all the other stuff becomes easy. I can't tell you how many times I lost focus on my main source of income and I started getting distracted. I started getting complacent on my main source of income. And I was looking for all these other side hustles that could make me rich overnight, make me more money, and end up neglecting my main source of income, my foundation. And all of a sudden, I'm even more desperate than I've ever been in my life. I'm depressed, I'm stressed out, I got anxiety, I'm going crazy, and it's all about money. So get obsessed with your main source of income and hit a home run with it. If you looked at all of these standards, when you're looking at what your main source of income, and it's not making sense to you, then it's time to maybe start searching elsewhere. So if you went to school for 4 years for a certain degree, but you hate it and you don't see yourself doing it for the next 10 years, you need to hurry up and pivot. Look for a trade, look for something. Again, I keep bringing up real estate agents, but I know plumbers that make well over 6 figures. Learn how to code. There's literally free courses on coding. There's apps that will teach you how to code. There's online courses that will teach you how to code, but you gotta find a strong foundation. If you got it already, great, let's move on. And so now we gotta talk about side income. We talked about this a little bit earlier when I said that sometimes side income can distract from what you should be focusing on, and that's your active income. But if our active income is good, then we can start looking at side incomes that are going to complement our active income. Remember, our time purpose balance. We don't bring anything into that balance that doesn't fit our why, that doesn't fit our value. Because the moment you bring something into that balance that doesn't fit your value, it may derail you. It may be like a domino effect and affect everything in your life. But when we're on strong foundation, we can make a very smart decision. So we want to bring in side incomes that complement our active income. One of them has to be flexible, obviously. If both of them have certain times that you have to do this work, it's going to affect one or the other. So they don't complement each other. I'll give you an example. I really want to learn Forex trading, but I'm a barber. I started doing Forex trading, not even swing trading. I went straight for day trading. And what ended up happening is that the best times to trade, the best times that the market's open, were during times that I should be getting sleep because I had 20 appointments at 8 a.m. in the morning. I might have a client and I got my computer up on my station and I'm watching indicators and all this stuff, trying to trade Forex while I'm cutting hair. It made absolutely no sense. It was a perfect example of something you don't bring into your life balance. A good example of a side income that works was my YouTube channel. I was already cutting hair. I was already opening barbershops. I just started putting a camera in front of the stuff I was already doing. I'd come home, spend time with my family. When they went to bed, I could edit, upload a video, and do it all over again. In the beginning, it didn't make any money. Probably the first year didn't make any real money, but after that, it has replaced a lot of my active income. And that can happen with side income. I'll give you another example. This is low-hanging fruit. Some of you guys have no kids, have no wife, getting in an apartment because you're making some decent money now with your active income. You get a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, you're paying $1,500 a month in rent, and you can literally create $750 in cash flow in side income by getting a roommate. Low-hanging fruit. Some of you guys have gotten in the top 10% of your field. You know what you're doing. You're making good income. Share your knowledge. You have value for people who want to emulate the things that you're doing. So let's say you're a real estate agent and you're a top 10 real estate agent, or let's say you're a school teacher, you're a top 10%er in your field as a teacher. Create some online courses, create a YouTube channel where you can start showing people what you do. You're just putting a camera in front of things you're already doing. And what ends up happening is the marketplace will tell you, your audience will tell you where they need more of you. And that's where you can really start monetizing your expertise. Some of you guys get in fields where you just want to make money and do stuff on the side, but if you become the expert of your field, you can leverage that like crazy. So this is why I'm really drilling you guys on your active income, on your main source of income, not your side, but share your expertise. I do it a number of ways between my YouTube channel, between hands-on in-person classes, an online academy, an online course, speaking engagements where people book me, and you can do it too no matter what field you're in. I did it in the barber industry, and I did it when there weren't a lot of people doing it. The next thing is sell or create a product. I definitely know barbers who realized in their area there weren't a lot of supply stores. There weren't a lot of stores that were selling the hot trending products in the industry. So they started doing it themselves, putting all their products in the trunk of their car, driving barbershop to barbershop, selling razor handles, razors, sanding strips, shaving products, clippers. And that's something you can do on your day off. Take 2 days off a week, make your rounds every day. And I know I'm using barbering a lot as an example because I understand it. But seriously, I've been to tattoo parlors, tattoo artists who don't even sell the creams and the products that they recommend for an individual to maintain and take care of their tattoos. They don't even sell it. They send me to Amazon or to Walgreens or something. Sell it in your store. Let's say none of that stuff makes sense for you. You can do stuff that's outside of your industry. I mean, it's 2020. There's so many apps and things like that, freelance services that you can get involved in. Let's say you're really good at graphics, graphic arts. Start doing freelance work on Upwork.com. Make an Instagram just for that. Get in Facebook groups and offer your services. Do Uber Eats while you're slow, on the weekends, on your day off. Let's say you speak several languages. Translate for people after work, overnight. From 9 to 5, you're working your main income. From 5 to 9, you're working your side income. And last but not least, ignore all the tabs up here. I know you guys couldn't relate. This ends up happening every time I open a browser and I start digging a deep hole into the internet world. This is what happens. But let's just Google it. Amazing ways to make side. All right, and here we are. Amazing ways to make side income. Obviously, I would look for stuff that's kind of new, but look at these options. Answer surveys. Some of you barbers are literally twiddling your thumbs in between clients. You could be answering surveys and make more money so you can start investing in passive income. Become an Uber and Lyft driver. We talked about that. The Lime, the scooter things. You can grab them on the weekends, bring them to your garage, charge them while you're doing other stuff, then bring them back to wherever you need to bring them. I don't know what that digital voice thing is, but it looks good. Let's try this one. 16 side hustles. You see, this is stupid. Come on, cancel subscriptions. Oh yeah, there you go. Some of you guys can manage someone who manages Airbnb properties, and anytime you're on vacation or if you travel every weekend or you're out of town, throw your house or your apartment on Airbnb. Make sure you won't get in any problems legally, but that's why you consult this Airbnb manager. The reason why you would want an Airbnb manager, guys, is because a lot of times they have like Superhost accounts and they get priority when it comes to searches. They'll have your house booked every weekend if you want them to. Yeah, Turo's another one. Rent your car out. All right, that list wasn't that good, but you get the gist. You can learn a lot through Google. This is the same way you're learning through YouTube. You do the same searches for this stuff on there. This right here, I've already said it, but build your social media in parallel. Short story short, long story short, you want to build all these things in parallel because you're going to be able to expose your value to the marketplace. Attention is a form of currency in 2020. So you might as well be building that as you're building your side income and your active income. Now, aside from these two things, you do want to be building your credit, but I think that's for another topic. We'll definitely go deeper into credit cards, into business credit, and how all of that formulates into this side of your income, the passive side. You see, it's cool to have a whole bunch of cash in the bank, but if you don't have credit, you're really gonna hurt yourself and limit yourself. We don't want ceilings. And what ends up happening a lot of times when we have a bunch of cash and no credit, or vice versa, a bunch of credit but no cash, we make dumb decisions. I see it all the time. I see videos, buy real estate, no money down. Buy real estate, no credit. I'm not saying it's desperate, but it's really nice to be able to go to the bank or to be presented with an opportunity and know there's no skeletons in the closet and you're the guy for that opportunity. You're the guy that can make a quick, rational decision and take advantage of that opportunity. It's gonna happen. An example is the recession in 2008, 2009. A lot of people had credit, no cash, or had cash, no credit, or didn't understand financial literacy whatsoever, and they were so over leveraged, they lost their homes, they went bankrupt. I feel like these these values, these principles are recession proof. But we'll talk about credit in the future. Right now, we're just talking about money. When you get to your passive side, we want to be able to turn this active income into passive income. So you start putting your money into investment. What we've learned our whole life, or at least what I've learned from books, from my parents, from school, are your conventional strategy. 401ks, the stock market, bond, gold, get a good job, retire at 59 and a half. Although I do think that this strategy is for some, I think that we're brought up with this idea that it's for everyone. And I don't think that's the case. At least it wasn't for me. I just didn't know there was other options out there. The same way you have to take responsibility for your active income and you got to make that happen, you got to do it on the passive side. So you got to start learning about investments, stocks, real estate. But if it's going to be passive, it needs to be truly passive. Day trading is not investing. It's a job. It is trading. Flipping homes is a job. Now, there are ways to create systems and work on the business and make it a little bit more passive, but don't get it twisted. That's a job. Wholesaling is a job. Passive means you can leave for a long stretch of time, come back, and you're still making money, if not more than before you left. But if you aren't spending time educating yourself on these topics, then how are you gonna know where to put your money? And no one's gonna treat your money like you will yourself. Real estate to me is the best one. There's so many reasons why. I'll go through a couple now, but we're gonna make a bunch of videos on just this topic. You don't just make money up from real estate when you buy and sell it. You don't just make money from renting it and the cash flow that you get from your renters being a landlord. There are tax advantages that will save you a bunch of money. Real estate is one of the best ways to legally pay less taxes. And there's so many different tax laws surrounded around it. And the reason why is because the economy knows people need places to live. So if you're providing housing, the government wants to reward you for doing that for the economy. Thank you, here's a tax write-off. Appreciation. I might be wrong, and I'll make sure I'm right on a later video, but for the history of real estate, it's gone up 5% every year. If you add value to the home will appreciate more. There's a thing called BRRR. Barber method. Look that up. That's a great way to enter the world of investing in real estate for 3.5% down on a house. And then there's pay down on the loan. If you're renting the home or you're not, you're living in the home, your money is paying down equity. So between the equity that's being paid down, the appreciation that's going up, you have a spread in there. Plus the tax advantages, plus the cash flow if you are renting it out, plus the idea that you can leverage so much. Real estate is by far my favorite passive income. Stocks are interesting because of compound interest, and compound interest works pretty much with a lot of things in this world, but a lot of people who love stocks love the idea of compound interest. My only issue with that is it's really heavily affected by taxes, and so to really take advantage of stocks and get that compound interest really booming, you have to put it in like a 401k or an IRA or a Roth IRA or HSA. There's so many different things, and later on we'll go even deeper. The problem is when you put stocks into this type of vehicle, you now have lost a lot of control of your own investments. You're told when you can take that money out. If you take it out before, you get fined. You're told how much you can put in a given year in a lot of these. There's so many rules and stuff, and I want control of my money. This is just my opinion. You can look into stocks. Obviously, people like Warren Buffett have made a killing from stocks, but the way he does it is he's just buying businesses. A business can be an amazing thing, but most businesses are not passive. Most businesses will take over your life. Most businesses require your obsession because it is your active income. But there are some businesses that are passive. Car washes is a great example. A book is another good example. You write a book once, besides marketing it, you really don't do any work. You've written the book already. But it is a competitive market, but it doesn't have to be. If you've been building your social media in parallel to the things you're already doing, you can easily monetize your book just off of your core audience. Never mind when you put it on Amazon and your core audience giving you reviews, it's going to hit the Amazon algorithm, and before you know it, people are going to be buying the book. They didn't even know who you were. I got to add taxes to this whole side income idea, and the reason why is because some of you guys are self-employed or are employed, and you don't realize that if you paid attention to your taxes and laws and you actually got a little competent with it, you'd be able to ask your accountant creative questions that'll help you at the end of the day with strategies to help you save money on taxes. Taxes are the #1 expense in your lifetime. You can Google it. I'm not making this up, but most people don't know anything about taxes. If you are a W-2 employee, you should have a side business. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. You can take advantage of the tax advantages that a side business would give you, because a lot of you guys as employees don't realize you're paying a lot in taxes. I'm not an accountant, I'm not a CPA. Let's go to irs.gov actually, and I'm just gonna Google tax brackets. All right, so here it is. So if you're making less than $10,000, on anything less than 10,000, you're paying 10%. If you're making over 10,000, you're paying more, only for the amount that's over 10,000. Let's say you made just under $40,000 this year. That would mean for the first 10,000, you paid 10% tax on that first 10,000. And then between 10,000 and 40,000, you pay 12% tax. Let's say you made $85,000 this year. That would mean for the first 10,000, you pay 10% tax. For the amount between 10 and 40,000, you pay 12% tax. And for the amount between 40,000 and 85,000, you pay 22%. And that's what marginal means. And it keeps going up the more money that goes up, so that when you get to the point where you're over 500 grand, you're paying 37% on anything that is made over 500,000, which means that the more money you make, the more you are taxed. But it is marginal, which means if you're making less money, you're paying less in tax. There's all kinds of tax credits and deductions and things of that nature that will bring you down as far as how much you owe the IRS. But long story short, you are paying more taxes than anyone if you are an employee. If I made 100 grand as a business owner, I'd be paying substantially less than you across the board. And I have the opportunity to even pay 0 in taxes if I understand the tax laws, which we will talk about in further videos. I just want you guys to know how important it is to understand taxes. That is another side income that you could essentially start working on today to make more money next year. Now, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because we're gonna make sense of all of this. This is high level looking down. This is bird's eye view looking down at what we should be doing. But with that being said, if you look at all these arrows, essentially we want to get to a point, once we've developed a little bit of all of these, active income, side income, and passive income, all of this is producing income that is all going to one bank account. It doesn't have to be a business account. It can be a personal account that is just dedicated to your income. So if you are an employee, you're a teacher, let's say, all that income goes to one bank account. You're a teacher with some side income. Let's say you created an online academy where you're mentoring people. That income also goes into one bank account. It's going to make you a monster. It's going to set you up to be able to build even more wealth. I will explain in another video. I like to call this the dynasty plan. And I'm a basketball guy, so I gotta use this analogy. Your active income is your players, they're your starters. If we're talking about a dynasty, we gotta talk about San Antonio. They haven't missed a playoff in over 25 years. They might miss it this year though. In order to do that, you have to have a dynasty. Another example of a dynasty would be the New England Patriots. That's a dynasty, but you can't create a dynasty just off of your active income or your starters, because Tim Duncan ain't gonna be around forever. David Robinson is not gonna be around forever. Kawhi Leonard, he's out. So you need a supporting cast. You need your role players. You need your side income. That side income, they're your guys off the bench. They're your sixth man. They're the guys when your starter gets hurt, comes in off the bench, adds a spark, and boom, you win the game. You gotta have a good balance of the two. And your passive income is Popovich. As the team owner, Popovich is gonna be the guy that's working while you're sleeping. While you're on vacation, Popovich is still there working on the system to make sure you're still winning. Passive income is going to make sure you're still making money. It's like you're just plugging them into the system. Losing Tim Duncan is not gonna hurt you so much, because you know you can replace him with somebody, maybe only 80% of the player Tim Duncan is, but because you're plugging him into a winning system, you're still going to win. This is the dynasty plan. So again, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a tax lawyer. I'm just sharing with you guys some of my experiences, some of my opinions on things. But with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. We're gonna continue to crank these out. I know a lot of you guys came from my Barber channel, from the Barber world. But if you feel like this channel will help your customers, if this will bring up topics in the barbershop, make sure you share this channel with anyone you think will add value to their life. And with that being said, I'm out.